Hey everybody, welcome to TPIM SR Live. I'm your host, TruePowerIsMine. This is an impromptu interview in the quiet room, so the live studio audience should be muffled somewhat. But I have on another confidential informant, former U.S. military personnel, worked with biological nuclear interactions, and hopefully we've had him on before on the show, but hopefully he can bring us more insight to how to better protect ourselves and what are the true risks of the coronavirus. Buddy, you there?
Yeah, I'm here, buddy.
All righty. Right off the bat, as a biological weapon specialist, are you kind of concerned about the corona and how it's being basically so contagious?
Uh, Actually, yes, because I don't know if you've seen from the past a lot of the coronavirus. I mean, there's 150 different coronaviruses out there. Most of them are not passable from animals to people. Fortunately, like SARS, MERS, and now the COVID-19, they found that it was passable from the animals, to humans and so on and so forth. Well, most things like this, like everybody talks about, it's not as bad as the seasonal flu because, 34 million people get it a year, in which 34 to 40,000 people die.
Right.
You're looking at a very small percentage. When you see something like this with a 3% rate of people dying, it's almost unheard of. And the rate that it's passing from person to person isn't like traditional flu as well.
In what way is it not like true? Because they always say, in the beginning they were saying it's just like the flu. Yeah, it's just like the flu.
Well, and it acted like a flu at first, like flu, and then, obviously as it travels further and further and the longer it stays out, viruses mutate.
Right.
And they change and they adapt to their environment. And this being one of them where it's like it will sit for long periods of time. And right now they're finding out that 25% of people that are being infected are asymptomatic, where the person they got it from showing no symptoms at all.
Right. So
whereas like the flu, you get the flu within a day, you're coming down with flu symptoms.
Well, can we just be honest
here?
You
don't bury it for almost an entire week before you start showing symptoms.
Do you think that this corona could indeed have been a military or some sort of private company biological weapons program got out of containment?
Well, from my inside information, from who I talked to, the strand is more borderline with something that's naturally occurred.
So we're really talking about a simple evolutionary process where this material was able to be fruitful and change its form.
Right. Now, did man help with the spread? Definitely.
Now, is that because we're cooking up Chinese fucking rats and bats and snakes and?
Well, I mean, if you remember correctly, on January 6th, the president, or the leader of China, had addressed his cabinet members and said, "Hey, this is going on. This is an epidemic. We need to get a foothold on this and bring me some information."
Right.
And then exactly 15 days later, the entire incubation time of the virus, he then addressed the public. Now, tell me that ain't a little fishy? I mean, in my own opinion, I find it a little fishy. But then at the same time, though, like, everybody saw the way it was spreading exponentially, and not very many people thought it was as serious as it was. Because, like SARS, China contained it completely. It led out to a few countries, and that was the end of that epidemic.
Right.
Same with MERS, the Middle Eastern respiratory, because I was over in Eastern Europe when that was going on in 2008, 2009, and they contained it so well because it wasn't like literally you were having to have skin-on-skin contact to pass this. It wasn't like somebody coughed in their hand, they touched something, somebody else touched that, and then picked it right up.
So it had to be so really personal. You had to be hugging the person, kissing the person, engaging in whatever activity.
Yeah, rule of
Physical.
thumb is if you can smell their breath, you are inhaling their vapor droplets from their mouth.
Wow. Get that out of here.
No, I'm being serious. Like, I mean, some people have, such heavy breathing and stuff that you can smell them 3 feet away. You can smell their breath,
Right.
And, and those air particulates, when people cough or sneeze, they can travel up to 15 or 20 feet. Just because you're not seeing the actual droplets, there's the mist that flows through the air.
Right. And then that mist can also attach to natural dust and microfibers floating around in the environment as well.
Yep. And then locks itself onto surfaces for short periods of time before the virus, eventually dies off. But
Now, what could a person do to try to, I guess, mitigate, other than what we've heard, their risks of contracting it? Just stay in the house in a bubble, wear masks. What do you
wear
think?
a mask? Wear a mask, 100%. If you look at any pictures you see online, any pictures where it shows any military member out in the field, they're all wearing masks. Every single one of them. Whether they're in the hot spot or whether they're outside the hot spots, they're all wearing masks. Because the rule of thumb with something that's contagious like this is that if everybody wears masks, you then cannot pass it and you cannot receive it. Now I know the CDC says and the Surgeon General says, and I'll quote them exactly, it says that masks do not, capitalize not, prevent contracting the coronavirus. That is true. It doesn't prevent you. But does it give you a 98% chance? Hell yeah, they do. Man, these N95 and these N99 masks block out 95 or 99% of all airborne particulates. And if you get them with the carbon filters absorb bacteria and viruses, unlike where rather cloth masks, they'll absorb it, but then the material can still be pulled through. So you can still pull through vapor through those masks by breathing in and out of the mouth.
Well, I got a question. What if you went to those sites, like BudK or sportsman.com and get a surplus military gas mask? Will that be effective in viral transmission or mitigating that?
That would depend on which filter you get, because obviously the protective masks themselves don't have their own filter attached to them. They have attachable filters that go on, and then you have to get specific. There are antiviral masks, there are dust masks, pollution masks. There's all kinds of different filters for all different types of things that they could experience. Most of them are generally specific. There is one universal one that the military uses mostly. It is known for most things, but something like chemical warfare, they wouldn't work necessarily on, because some of those chemical agents, they're more specific and designed to do certain things.
So what about the masks? Remember the masks that you described that people could make with surgical masks, charcoal? Would that be effective with?
At this point, it wouldn't be as effective as just wearing a regular mask.
Wow.
To be honest, or even double layering up, a cloth underneath the mask or something. Because at this point, it's not really a chemical agent, which is what the charcoal would be used for, which would be absorbing the chemical agents or something else, any kind of biological. But with this being such a naturally occurring virus, honestly, just wearing a mask would be the most beneficial thing. Because then at the same time, with you having a mask on your face, you are not directly inhaling the fumes of from the virus from other people, and at the same time, with the mask on, you also limit the amount of times you touch your face, because everybody just assumes somebody's got to be breathing on you to get it. You touch that cart at Walmart, and then you touch it, you put your hands to your mouth, you then pass the virus right to your mouth.
Wow.
So then wearing the mask, like if I leave the house now, we wear masks. All of us. I even have a baby mask for the baby.
Well, what about in your home? Should you be wearing masks while you're in the house? I mean, what makes the walls on your home keep the virus out? Because let's be honest, the listener, the virus is straight up airborne. It's in the air.
Well, to a point. It will travel through the air, but it won't stay in the air.
Like I said, if it gets bonded with microfilaments or things that actually has natural buoyancy and will stay airborne, it's airborne because we already know this virus stays alive to 27 days on surfaces, microfibers, dust, this common shit in the air. You know, it's there. If someone, let's say hypothetically, you walked into Walmart, somebody's up there half hacking and coughing back there in automotives, but there's dust in Walmart. There's microfilaments flying in Walmart that will not sink to the ground. They're like
have you seen what Walmart's doing with their procedures? So that you brought up Walmart specifically, because I have an issue with going in Walmart. Listen, I haven't had a panic attack since 2009 when I was in the service, and I walked through Walmart the other day and had a panic attack. All right, so I went through and I was like, well, what's going on? What is Walmart doing? Why specifically are they closing at 8, 9 p.m.? And that's because they are spending the entire night not only restocking their shelves, but they are re-sanitizing all of their shelves, all of their floors, everything. I did not know that. And it freaked me out. I was like, man, I don't even want to touch, the rails at Walmart, nothing at Walmart, because I was afraid. But Walmart's actually took it up and has been doing extra steps overnight. And I got one of my buddies, one of my former coworkers. He's one of the managers at one of the Walmarts out here by me. And he's like, dude, it's nuts at night. He's like, nobody's got time to stand still and do anything. Everybody's, if they're not moving pallets, they got, rags and antibacterial spray in their hand, and they're sanitizing and wiping everything down.
No, or in some way, somehow, are Walmart workers, the employees, somehow immune from this? What happens when an employee comes up in there?
Oh no, they're on the front line, man. Just like your McDonald's workers, your cashiers, bank teller. I fear for bank tellers the most, man.
Oh, getting that money.
Because our money isn't paper; it is a type of fabric, and it would be something that the virus would attach itself to and be passed very easily. I use my card everywhere I go, and then when I get my card back from people, I immediately wipe it off with Lysol wipes that I have in my car that I carry in my car at all times.
Well, what about your gas pump? When you go to the gas pump?
Back to the house thing, we washed everything in the household. We spent one day, we washed all the blankets, everything we had. We wiped down every surface that we had. We cleaned off all the remotes, all the controllers, everything in the house. And then at this point on, I have a separate change of clothes in my car, and I change my shirt, and I put my extra pair of pants on before I even come in the house. Take my shoes off, I wipe my shoes off before I come in, and then from there I make a beeline straight to the bathroom without touching anything, sanitize wash my arms, my face. Like if I have time to shower, I'll shower first.
Right.
But mostly because I work in the food industry, so I'm sanitizing my hands, 1,000 times a day already.
Right.
Every time I interact with a customer or anything.
No.
So I go home, I wash my arms, I wash anything that would have direct contact, from outside my shirt. So all the way up to my elbows, my neck, down my chest. And then from there, I know for a fact that, everything in my house has already been clean and sanitized, and now everything that I'm bringing in the house is clean and or sanitized. And then I got this spray that I spray down the car with. It's like, I hate myself sometimes. I'm being so OCD and so crazy about it, but at the same time, like, I smoke almost 2 packs of cigarettes a day.
That's a risk factor.
I'm a little overweight, and I know that if I contract this, it's going to hospitalize. Like, I know from the reports, everything from all these other countries, the outlook is not going to be good for me, So, like, on top of that, I have 3 small children that...
Yes.
Oh my gosh! And
yes.
that is the most headache thing of all. Is I can't literally at this point I cannot take them anywhere.
Right.
And I will not take them anywhere. They are stuck at the house. Unfortunately, we've had my son is 8, almost 9. My daughter is 11, and I sat them down each individually and we had a talk. Not the scared the shit out of them kind of talk, but at the same time, know that it's serious. Like we went to Walmart. Okay, I took my son to Walmart 7 days ago, almost a week ago, and he stood between me and the cart with his hands on the cart the entire time, did not move off the cart to touch nothing, and it surprised me because, my son, who's ADD, he wants to touch everything, wants to see everything, understood because of the way that I put it to him that it's serious and that, it's not that he will get sick, but that he can get other people sick and pass it on because of how contagious it is.
You know something? I know this is off the beaten cuff, man, but could you somehow in your mind reorchestrate that conversation? Let's say that we're back in time and the listeners right now are your children. Could you tell the listeners what you told the children?
Okay, so I explained to them what was going on. It's like the flu. People will get sick, and that just like the flu, most of the people are going to recover. But there are other people that may not even know that they're sick on the inside, that when they get it, it will react violently with their body and could make them really, really sick or even kill them. And then I showed them one hospital picture of I wish I could remember which hospital it was in New York, but just showing the amount of people just in the hospital. Because, each one of them's been in the emergency room at least once.
Right.
And we've all seen emergency rooms when they're packed and we've all seen them when they're empty. But these photos are surreal. Like the amount of people and
Powering off.
Jam-packed, and they're all sick, and it's like a fest. So I explained to them, I'm like, listen, like, we can go through this, like, just being at home and staying away from everybody, and we don't have to deal with it. Nobody has to get sick, and you don't have to watch your grandparents get sick, and you don't have to watch your baby sister get sick. Or, we can act like everybody else and pretend like it's not real and it's not happening, and then watch everybody get sick and people that we know and people that we love get sick. Because I'm telling you right now, man, like, I'm at the point where I am not going to get it. My girlfriend is not going to get it, and my kids are not going to get it. And that's because 24/7, I am taking precautions to ensure that I do not contract it myself.
Right.
My kids are staying indoors. They're not leaving the house until it's done and over with. So I don't have to worry about them getting it except from me or from my girlfriend. And that's what everybody is so worried about themselves, and I don't want to get sick, and I don't want to get sick. And that's the point. You are doing it not to get, because the average American is going to make it through it. They're healthy. They're within a certain age range, that their immune systems haven't been deteriorated by pollution and everything else that goes on in the world, and that they have, a 95, 98, 99% recovery rate. And even at that, 80 to 90% of those are only getting mild symptoms.
Right.
So recovery is going to be easy. It's going to be the other people that are going to get it, not by getting it themselves, but by somebody else giving it to them because they weren't cautious.
Mm. So what do you feel about the Missouri governor and how he hasn't issued a stay-at-home order yet?
Well, I mean, to be honest, it's because they're looking at numbers, man. All right. So I want to almost guarantee that 75% of your entire military forces have already been tested.
Mm.
Now, they do that so, because in the military, everybody's in such tight quarters all the time. Something like that can get passed really fast, and you could cripple an entire military, an entire section, and the world things could change.
Right.
So I understand that. All these celebrities that are doing it, they're jumping the line, using their name to jump the line. I understand that. Now, if they were to just go out and test everybody, they would have accurate numbers of where it's at and how many. So, like right here where I'm at, there are 10 active cases.
Wow.
10.
Wow.
10. But they've only tested 200, 300 people. So imagine if they were able to test thousands real quick, then they would have a much better handle on how many people have it, and then how they can quarantine people.
Wow.
But there are just not enough people are getting tested. Now, I'm not saying go out and get tested. I'm not saying, go out and get tested. If they were to come out and start testing people, that would probably be the most opportune thing. But right now, the tests are so in limited supply, which is why this is happening, is that they can't test enough people at once. I want to say South Korea. South Korea, on average, at the very beginning, were testing 8,000 people a day. Now, you don't think that's a lot when you have millions of people that live there, but 8,000 tests a day was much better than the 200 that America started out with when we first started getting reports of the virus here.
Correct.
It was 200 tests a day for 250 million people that live here. We just didn't react fast enough, and I think that's the thing, is that nobody thought that it was going to travel as fast as it did.
And it did.
Because they're looking at the other epidemics and pandemics that have happened and how that they didn't travel. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, this one did lightning speed. You know, for real, it really did. I mean, you saw the report where the U.S. Navy dismissed the captain of the USS Roosevelt because he had the audacity to say his sailors, his Marines, were at risk. What kind of message does that send?
Here's the thing with that, okay, because I did get some insight on that, is that he went out of his chain of command. He had already talked to his chain of command, and the chain of command had already been, the vessels were already on their way out to him when he did that. Now, he broke his chain of command and broke his, I can't remember exactly what the article was, but more or less he went outside his chain of command, and the message he sent out was sent to more than just, his boss's boss.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? If he just would have taken that one step further and would have went, above the person that he didn't think was, that probably would have resulted in better, but he sent it out in mass. I'm pretty sure it was like to 10 to 12 different people.
Through an email, like a Yahoo or Gmail email account that wasn't secure.
And then at that aspect, what happened was it made it look like the Navy wasn't doing anything to help their people.
So you think he should have been removed from his command? I mean, you know how hard it is to get a trained warrior.
If I was being reassured that help was coming, and my commanding officer was freaking out, assuming that it wasn't coming, under the situations, maybe not. I wasn't there. I don't know exactly how it all played out. Maybe he was, freaking out, like literally freaking out. Who knows?
Oh, I'm sure he was. Because when you start seeing people fall out at their duty stations, or you start, noticing 10, 12.
At that. It wasn't, just a couple at a time. It was, I think they said 95 sailors have it.
And we know how it goes through on the streets. Just imagine, like you said, the close quarters of a ship. Yep. Like, for those who don't understand, there are workers in aircraft carriers that will never see but a certain part of the ship. It's just so big. They will never be all over the ship. But there's other people that will just basically go everywhere. If that person's sick, then everybody can get sick. You cannot replace the personnel on the aircraft carrier, just like you can't replace a good tank battalion leader, just like a snap of the hand. It takes time for these people to ascend to the place that they are in the military chain. So, with that being said, from a military point of view, would right now be a good time to attack the United States?
Oh, hell no. Hell no. You know how many National Guardsmen are being activated right now?
Oh, thousands.
Right. So instead of them all being sitting at their home chilling, they're activated and they're out moving around. I don't think now would be a good time at all for anybody.
What about the South Chinese Seas?
Everybody's dealing with their own shit. So far I think there are 5 countries that still have 0 reports of coronavirus. North Korea being one of them. But North Korea, they wouldn't admit it if they did.
Right. Their people are starving, but they're, well fed.
And the other ones are all the island countries and a couple bases in Antarctica that have 0 reported cases.
Well, yeah.
But still, all the people on the island countries, I want to say I know they're out in the Pacific. I was just reading about it the other day. But yeah, they're still on so high alert because there's 18,000 people on the island. Nobody's allowed in or out, at this point except for resupplies, and they're at the point where they are literally dousing their supplies and stuff, in sanitizer solutions. So this way, they can, you got 18,000 people on the island, so one person gets sick,
it's a big deal. But see, this is what I want to say about logistics. What happens is you can coat the outside in Clorox or whatever. But what happens when the guy that's making that big old pot of chili in the factory coughs over that big old pot of chili? What happens when the guy that's making your Kellogg's pisses in that motherfucker? What happens when the guy that's putting together your McDonald's sandwich goes to the bathroom, basically jacks off, comes back, and puts that shit together and sends it out the drive-thru? You got to understand, you're quite literally right now putting your life and the life of your families and loved ones in the hands of minimum wage slaves. I'm talking about the workers that put this shit together.
On top of that, are being forced to work necessarily.
Well, yeah, you don't have insurance or health care. You don't have no sick leave. Let you work at McDonald's, all right? And your ass calls in sick.
Job, so this way they can continue to pay their bills, because most of us, we're getting some relief in certain levels, but there's still rent still got to be paid.
Yep.
There's no rent assistance, so like I'm in a situation at my job right now where I got my tax money still sitting aside, and I volunteered to give up my hours at work for somebody that wants them. At the same time, because I work in the food industry, like I said earlier, the only way my family is going to get it is if I bring it home.
Exactly.
Nobody else here leaves the house. My girlfriend doesn't even. She currently quit her job. She was working in healthcare, and here we go. Not to put them on blast, I'm not going to say the name of the nursing home. My girlfriend just recently quit her nursing home job because they have a rehabilitation center 2 wings of the hospital that they have not been using in quite some time. And in order to get extra money and funding, they decided they would open it up to private COVID-19 patients.
Wow.
And my girlfriend, who was a housekeeper, would have been in charge of having to clean their rooms every day.
Put herself at risk every day with that brand new baby. Oh, get
right.
the fuck out
involuntarily, because, it wasn't a decision that, it was a decision one person made and said, this is what's going to happen. You're all replaceable if you don't like it. So this is what I'm talking about. And it couldn't have come at a better time, to be honest, because I don't want her going out. I don't, not everybody has had the training that I had to
mitigate this fucking pandemic.
Well, it's forced to have it on me now, like something like this happens, I go into a completely different mentality, and like as I do things, especially with hand sanitizer available, like I hit it every single time I have an interaction. Some people will forget and not think about it, because it's part of their daily life.
Well, how many times have you seen a good friend, dude? Let's be honest. You ain't seen this motherfucker forever. You go up and give him a hug or a high five. This is natural to us. It's unnatural. If I haven't seen you, let's say 4 years, I ain't seen you, but we run across each other, and I see you at the bar there, and I'm just shaking my head at you and not do a nod, not go up, hey, bro, how you been, fucking right. This is what we do.
Right? And that's just, our human beings, just having that personal interaction, and just everybody just has to have that mentality just for the next, and I'm not even going to say 2 weeks. Everybody thinks it's going to be 2 weeks and it's done and over with. I'm telling you right now, it's going to be months. Months. Your kids aren't going to go back to school. I'm telling you that right now. They're not. Not this year. They're going to try to do this online curriculum thing. I don't know if you guys have seen it. You guys ain't got internet charters giving away 60 days for free to anybody with kid members. I'm, not to put them out there, but it definitely helped me out here.
Well, that's good to help you out.
Because my son started his, because he's in the second grade, and they started online curriculum. The teachers emailed curriculum that they would like the students to keep up on. And without, a huge company like this helping out, something like this wouldn't be possible.
Well, there's another huge company that can help out. It's called the United States government. Instead of having postal workers go from house to house, we do away with the postal service and we all go to like a United States Facebook type deal where you have a mailbox assigned to you, you have internet access given to you, and you can conduct your, civilian duty, even like the census. I know you get that census paper. You got to fill that shit in. Well, why send in a dirty ass piece of paper when you can jump online, government, because we're getting 5G. Whether you like it or not. 5G is coming.
It's because they're still assuming that 40% of all Americans don't have access to the internet.
That's a lie. Most people have internet-capable devices. All you gotta do is click these cell phone towers and 5G towers on to allow all devices to communicate on the network.
Right, and then all people with SNAP benefits are eligible for free cell phone service as well. They can look into that too through their local.
Yeah, I mean, no, this is really good information because a lot of people are just straight panicking, bro. A lot of people don't know what to do, how to do it, and when to do it, and why. And this is what this should be all about. I mean,
well, here's all of them right now. Okay, the win is right now. Don't wait. Stay home. Don't go out. It's not worth the risk. You know what? You need a pack of cigarettes? Put on a mask. Put on a scarf. Cover your face. Wash your hands off before you come back inside your house. The wear is stay home. Like you don't need to go out. People don't need to go out and do stuff.
But I mean, people can't go outside their homes.
Play a board game. Read a book. Something. Play a Monopoly game too. You guys got to play 100 times around. Something. Anything. I'm at the point now where it's like it's. I'm sitting in my apartment right now. I'm sitting outside. I'm on the top floor and I have a little balcony. All right, so it's isolated. And I'm watching all my neighbors outside.
So you're literally outside telling people to stay inside.
No, I stopped doing that.
Oh,
I stopped doing that a few days ago. I actually had a gentleman argue with me because I asked him if he would step away from me.
What?
Yeah, he's like, well, why? Do you have it?
Oh my God, I don't give a fuck if I have it. Motherfucker, stay away from me.
I'm like, I don't know. I could have it, because the way it's going is people are carrying it for 7 days or just showing very mild symptoms, maybe just a fever, a cough for a day, and then it goes away and they're still holding on to it, Like, I don't know if you have it. I don't know if anybody has it. That's the whole point, is you have to take precautions for everybody. For me to you, the 6 feet rule is not just so to keep me safe from you, but to keep you safe from me.
Exactly. But,
because we don't know who has it because not everybody can be tested.
But don't forget, you can take a test and get infected a second after you take the test. Touch your own surface and touch your face.
You could, and especially right now, how, it takes days to get results. You could get it in between you getting a negative result.
Correct. Now, what about people who choose to still eat out? I gotta get my motherfucking quarter pounder. I gotta get my Whopper.
So from that standpoint, every single restaurant in this area that is still open for drive-thru has, like at my restaurant, we have posted what we are doing inside the store. Okay? Now, because the CDC doesn't recommend gloves or masks, we do not wear gloves or masks in service.
Stop! Repeat that! In
service. So, because the CDC doesn't recommend it, at your windows with handling the money and handing your food out to you, we do not use gloves or masks because the CDC doesn't recommend it. Now, the company I work for has already taken steps, has already issued gloves and masks to all locations so that when the CDC does decide to change, they are ready to do it.
But what about now, though, bro? What about now? I come to your fucking line. I'm coughing on that $20 bill. That girl comes out.
I personally will refuse to take your money. Or I will put on a glove, grab your money, and I will put it in a separate bag.
Wow.
But that's just me personally. Now, the company I work for, they do not have any set guidelines for anything like that. It's up to the cashier whether or not they want to accept that money from that person.
Wow, this is crazy, man. This is straight fucking crazy. And but what about the guy who's putting, let's say, the dinner or whatever together? Like,
so we are actually being temperature checked before we come in the building.
wow. And what happens if I come in? Let's say I come in for my shift or whatever, and you hit me, and I come up with a temperature of 102. What happens to me?
We'll send you home.
No, but hold on now.
Well, we recommend, you go and you seek care, obviously.
No.
But we can't allow you to work because at the same time, you could get other people sick.
Well, hold on though, manager. I got a family. I got little ones. I gotta make this money. Can I get unemployment now?
Well, have you seen the new thing that they passed with the paid sick leave now?
No.
So the government is giving families additional sick leave. Here, let me see if I can pull this up here. Get my other phone. So my employer just got this letter from the government. Let me pull it up here. Sorry, I wasn't 100% prepared.
Well, thank God this ain't a live show.
Right. All right, here we go. So, as employee rights, for paid sick leave and expanded family and medical leave under the Families First Coronavirus Response Act, or the FFCRA. All right. The paid leave the provisions will apply as of April 1st and go until the end of the year, December 31st.
Wow.
Paid leave entitlements. Generally, employers covered under the Act must provide employees up to 2 weeks, 80 hours, or part-time employees 2-week equivalent of paid sick leave based on the higher of their regular rate of pay or applicable state or federal minimum wage paid at 100% for the qualifying reasons of number 1 and 3 below, up to $511 daily.
Wow. So okay, that first time I come up for my shift, 102. Second time I come up for the shift, I'm 99.
No. When you come to your shift, you have a fever. You then have to report your temperature every single day, and you cannot return to work until you have 3 days of fever-free.
What? 3 days?
3 days.
Okay. We went past the 3 days, bro. I come up, but I got a runny nose and a slight cough. You gonna let me work? No fever.
Not right now.
But I got my babies, dude.
So what we tell them is that they need to go and definitely seek medical attention, either from the emergency care or from their healthcare provider. Some kind of documentation. At that point, if you show any signs or symptoms and you talk to your healthcare provider, and they believe that you should be tested, they will direct you to the nearest testing site. And there is one in Hillsborough. I don't know if you knew that.
Yeah, over at the fairgrounds. Now, let me ask you this question. Let's say I came into work, okay, I passed the fever, however, I'm past that, I'm temp good, but you notice my behavior's odd. I'm over here coughing in my hands and not wearing gloves, intentionally putting shit on burgers or pizzas or steaks or whatever. What would you do with me then? You observe me as a manager and you see me intentionally, like coughing on cutlery or whatever. What would you do to me?
Me compared to a different manager, I am more slightly inclined to be more drastic about it. Especially somebody intentionally doing that, like with the intent of trying to get somebody else sick.
Right.
Not only is that person going to get fired, but I am going to call the police. Like that's something like with something going on as serious as it is right now. Like, I mean, to be honest with you, I don't think I would be in that situation at my job. Because I have been at my job over the last 3 months, and I have been expressing to everybody how serious this is.
Right.
Now, unfortunately, not everybody has somebody like me. Like my owner-operator, for instance. My owner-operator contacts me on a daily basis. We talk. Me and her, I have paragraphs and stories worth of messages between me and her. And it's just like her asking the questions, well, what do you think's going to happen next? What, because, I gave her that insight that I knew what I knew,
Right.
ahead of time. And unlike other people, you obviously have called me, wanting no questions, but she wants to know that information too. She's digging in, she's digging deep. As an owner operator, what is going to be the next step? Because nobody knows. Nobody really honestly knows what the government's next step is going to be, except for the people that have that insight and know. And unfortunately, once you start seeing the National Guard mobilizing everywhere, they're going to quarantine the entire United States, 100%.
Now, let me ask you a question. When martial law comes into effect, are you prepared to stay inside your house for 30 days, no one leaving?
Me? Oh, yeah. I've been prepared since February 1st.
Now, could you tell people who are living in New York or living down there in New Mexico or up there in Washington and throughout the rest of the country, what do you really need in your home to make it for 30 days?
Well, honestly, you want to plan it out. 3 meals a day plus minor snacks because people are going to get restless, and you got to. Unfortunately, I've seen it myself. I find myself standing in the kitchen snacking.
Okay.
A lot. And, obviously, food, milk, stuff like that, stuff that has an expiration date, go for it. I myself, I don't have any milk in the fridge right now. Nobody does the milk, nobody does the bread. We went with tortillas. They last a lot longer than bread does.
There it is.
Freezing stuff also helps. You can freeze a loaf of bread, set it out for a day or two, it'll fluff back up. I have meat set aside. We got a pound of meat for, I'd say, like 2 weeks worth of meat if we use a pound every day.
Wow.
But then we want to switch it up, so I got canned chicken and stuff for, chicken meals in between, so we can do beef and then chicken and then beef and then chicken. Unfortunately, I live in an apartment, so I don't have enough space for a deep freeze.
Right.
But if you got a deep freeze, definitely fill it with stuff.
But the majority of people, brother, lives in apartments. A lot of people don't have land to where they can go out and do whatever. Like I just put in my garden today. I finished it up, but
But here's the thing, though, is like you can't plan for 30 days. And unfortunately, the government won't keep you inside for 30 days. And if they do, there is something in place for a delivery system where you will be able to place orders for stuff that you need, and they will be able to be delivered.
But what if you don't have no money, brother? What if you don't have no money? Don't forget, I ain't been working.
To be honest, how are you going to buy groceries in the first place if you didn't have money?
Wow.
You know what I'm saying?
Wow, dude.
I get where you're at. I get what you're saying. Not everybody can stockpile stuff. I get that. I totally get that. But, the whole point of martial law and quarantine, it's not at a point where I don't think that's going to happen.
Okay, well,
the steps that we did within the unit I worked for, we're a long way away from martial law and full on quarantine.
No, but okay, let me throw this hypothetical out there. I'm a 21-year-old dude. Stopped working a couple of weeks ago because of Corona, right? Don't have no food and shit. You expect me to sit up in my fucking apartment and starve to death?
Well, no, that's why so your SNAP benefits, the food stamp benefits.
I'm a single dude. I'm a single man. Food stamp ain't given to men. I'm a single man.
Because of how much money I made, I did not qualify for food stamps at all.
Right. You ain't no food stamps for a man. You do now.
I do now. Working the same amount of hours at the same pay, I do now because of what happened. They changed the benefits and the qualifications for benefits.
Oh, wow. I did not know that.
And the national government also allotted billions of dollars toward it as well.
So if I'm a single man, no children, all right, never been married, I can get food stamps?
I got $150 a month.
That's crazy. I did not know that actually changed.
Yes, sir. So, and then with that, the stimulus check that everybody's going to be getting in the next 2 or 3 weeks, the $1,200 per person, plus additional $500 per child. If you're filed jointly, it's a $2,400 check. And plus, they changed that too, because at first, if you didn't pay taxes, so you were on disability or Social Security or something like that, you were going to have to go through loopholes and stuff, and through a different chain to get the check. You were still eligible for it, but you weren't going to get it directly.
Right.
Well, they just changed that over the week. They had a revote on some things, and they amended it to where anybody that has any kind of government benefits or anything like that, they're going to automatically get distributed the check.
Wow.
So at that point, if you were, say, working with, you forgot to file a 1099 or something, you did the cash work and didn't file taxes, you then have the opportunity to go through, file your claims, and then you will be eligible for that check.
And
it was like 800 and something pages, man. Like it was mind-boggling to try to read through.
No, I mean, just realistically though, as a United States worker, do you think that's fair? That, we can amend the script? Because, forever and a day, if you was a single man and you go up there to the welfare office, they're going to laugh your ass. Get the fuck out of here, clown. You ain't getting shit.
I thought that too until I went down there.
That's incredible.
I really did. And then they were just like, you know what, everybody needs help. I was almost at the point where I was going to cry. Because, man, I don't ask for help.
No, I know that.
I don't, and maybe that's just the man mentality or me or whatever, sexist, whatever, call it whatever you want. But I don't ask for help, and at this point, like, I know I'm going to need it. Like, I don't necessarily need it at this very moment, but in the next month, I'm going to need that help.
Right.
I totally am. So I went ahead, I went down there, set it all up, I qualified, which was surprisingly.
Yes.
Because I knew that they had changed it, and then she sat me down and was like, listen, yeah, we understand, because within the next, just because I work full-time now my county is a stay-at-home. We went from 100% sales, to when this happened, now we're at 65% sales. And as of today, we're at 34% sales.
Get the fuck out of it. People ain't not getting out.
And it just went into effect today. So am I going to get to keep my full-time? No. And they completely understand that 100%. And I have benefits. What's today, the 3rd? I have benefits starting today.
That's incredible. So
I went last week.
But what happens though if we go 2 or 3 months and then the government all of a sudden says, you know what, we can't afford this. Everybody's on their own. Will you still be able to make it?
Well, I think as long as Donald Trump's in there, he's going to try to do something every bit that he can. Like, I'm not 100% for the guy. I'm not 100% against the guy, but he seems like a man of action. And I think as long as he has the ability to do something, he's going to at least attempt to do something.
But how do you say that when his administration straight up says, if you're 70 years old, you should be willing to die for this economy that creates debtors and creditors?
Well, you keep going on and you read that thing, and what happens is hospitals are at the point where they have a 71-year-old, for instance, and a 21-year-old. Both of them need a ventilator. You only got one. What do you do at that point?
Give it to a 70-year-old because he has grandchildren, he has a woman, he has brothers and sisters that might survive.
The 21-year-old may have a brand new baby.
And then they got a good work history ahead of them. They can actually produce for the economy, right?
Right. So what you're saying is you got somebody that's willing, to work for 40 more years, and somebody who's already retired. Like, so they're at this, and at the situation, they're at the point where it's like, they've already urged these people just to stay inside. It's not worth it. It's not worth risking, like Italy, for instance. They have lost an entire generation of older people because they didn't. I don't know if you've ever been to Italy. You see a lot more older people. They're the ones that are out and about and, socializing the older group than the younger group is when I was there.
Wow.
And, and it's just like nobody took it seriously at first. And that is what's happening is nobody took it seriously. I mean, you saw it over the whole last month, the way that the White House briefings went. They were like, It's going to come and it's going to go. And then now, as of yesterday's, the seriousness in his tone and the seriousness of everybody that got up there and explained everything in detail, they're finally understanding that it's not just going to go away. It's not.
Of course not.
And I just think that it just took them too long to realize and understand that, and people are going to pay the price for it, unfortunately. And
what do you mean by pay the price? You talking about dying, hospitalization, death?
So in my unit, when we did stuff, we projected casualty rates and stuff like that. From what I'm seeing, what I'm looking at, the way it's spreading, dude, I personally think that 100,000 people are going to die within the United States alone.
Within the next 2 months?
Yeah, I would say before summer's over for sure. And then, on top of it, everybody's going to get relaxed, and everybody's going to think it's all over, and then everybody's going to go back out, start socializing again, and it's going to come around again, man. Stuff like this doesn't just happen like the flu. You get the flu early on in the wintertime, and then you see it toward the end of the wintertime, it comes back around, people are starting to catch it again, and then, everybody's like, don't forget to get your flu shot. Flu season's almost over, but...
Now, what do you say about vaccinations? Let's say they come out with a vaccination. We suggest people get it, or say, it's a conspiracy?
If they come up with a vaccination, I will get it.
No,
I will.
Here's a question, though.
I am not one that I don't get a flu shot. I do not get the flu vaccine every year, and people may argue with me, whatever, so on and so forth. But, in the last 10 years, I've gotten the flu one time because I am cautious, and it just so happened I shared a cigarette with somebody the very next day. He came down with the flu, and then the day after that, I had the flu.
Wow.
And I usually don't share cigarettes, because of something like that.
Yeah, and herpes. And herpes.
This is a 50-year-old man who lives by himself. I wasn't really, worried about something like that. But I don't get it because at some point in time, stuff like that will come in short supply. And me being a healthy, 30-something-year-old man, I could take precautions to get myself from getting the flu. I totally can. But something like this, the way it is, with all the precautions and everything that we can take, there's still the chance that we can get it. The reference I use with people at work when they say, oh, it's not that big of a deal. Like, man, if I give you a bag of 100 M&Ms and 3 of them, I put cyanide in them where they'll kill you within a matter of seconds, would you still eat them?
Fuck no.
Some of them say, yeah. Like, okay, so you take that chance and you take out a handful of M&Ms and you eat them and you're fine. Now, at that point now, you only got 90 M&Ms in there. You going to take a chance now?
Nope.
Okay, so you took that chance by going out in public, took that chance, and you're going to keep taking that chance and keep going out and keep going out and keep going out. To eventually the chance, you get it. And something that has a 3% mortality rate, people think 3% is not a lot. 3% is a lot.
It's huge.
Especially on something on a viral or biological rate, 3% kill, that's a huge difference. That's a huge difference from less than 1% of the flu,
Now, let me ask you a question. This is a hardcore question. Let's say in the next 4 months, DARPA or the U.S. military releases a press statement saying that all American citizens need to get injected with a chip. It will be real-time monitoring of your health status, and you can put your, medical and financial records on this chip as well. Do you think a lot of people will be willing to take that?
I think a small majority of the sheep within the masses would do something like that.
Now, whether it becomes a deal to where it's mandatory because of public safety and health.
To get it to that point, they would have to amend, United States amendments, for your rights and your.
Hold on now, before you go. Hold on.
About they don't do the spying program. The NSA isn't. This would just be their way of saying, hey, let's do it.
But think about it now. You talk about rights. Look at it. Last Sunday, churches were closed, so fuck off with your freedom of religion.
Well, at the same time with schools, I mean, you could do mass, online mass, group mass together, but it's just, they're doing it because there was New Jersey. There was a church where they violated the order, and now 25 members of that church are sick because they violated the order. So at that point, what happens? Because what happens if 5 of those 25? So we'll go to the odds. One of those 25 people die,
right?
Because you guys wanted to have church service together. Now I get it. A church is just an organized group of believers worshiping God.
Right. But hold on. Let me answer that question. Then the person that dies goes to heaven. They don't go to hell.
If that's something you believe in, then yeah, that's the way it goes.
So is there really, once again, when you look at it from that aspect, from the believer's aspect, then why shut the facility down?
Because just because you go to that church and you believe in God and you believe in Christ, but you get coronavirus from somebody at church, then you go to the supermarket and now you infect all them people at the supermarket that, you get what I'm saying?
Well, those were heathens anyhow. They shouldn't be at work on Sunday. I'm joking. I don't want no one to collect.
But you know what I'm saying?
Right.
But, somebody's still got to work the supermarket because all them people that don't go to church, somebody's got to do it for them.
And that's what I'm saying. It's like right now, it should be right in your face. You're a wage slave. If you don't fucking work hard on a plantation, you will have no resources and you will live a quite miserable life.
Huh?
And that should be right in our faces. Right in our faces. Right now, as we speak.
So, something else, man, at my job. So employees have the option to not work with the public.
What do you mean?
So, like me, for instance, I no longer deal with customers. I work only in the kitchen because I requested that I do not have that face-to-face, hand-to-hand interaction with customers. And my job and my employer was 100% on board with something like that. They are 100% in agreement. So, like, we have 2 managers and 3 crew people at my store alone. My owner-operator, they own 5 stores, 6 stores. They requested to be completely taken off the schedule.
And they'll do that.
And our owner-operator and our store manager completely let people do that. Because we understand it's shitty. And at the same time, with 30% of your normal sales, you can't run everybody anyway. Unfortunately, that's not how it goes everywhere. Not everybody, can voluntarily take time off, which sucks, and I totally get that. But all you can really do is take precautions for yourself, so that you don't pass it to somebody else if you get it. I mean, you can do as much as you'd like. I just got an email. Convenient, dude. Convenient. Okay, so one of my buddies, one of my former buddies, he's right now he's a sergeant first class. He's still in the unit that I'm in, that I was in with the mass casualty, biological, and chemical decontamination reconnaissance team.
Right.
He just sent me an email saying that the CDC is going to release a statement within the next 24 to 48 hours, revising their guidelines on masks and gloves.
Wow.
So, I recommend, if you have a chance, order some masks and gloves. Right now, all the N95 masks I'm looking at right now, you're looking at either they're out of stock or you might get
I already got mine because I've been in construction forever. I got gas masks. I got those 95 masks. We set.
Yep. Listen, the 95 respirators are probably, the N95 respirators are probably the best thing to have to use, for sure. So, yeah, definitely recommend. I mean, You know, but with everything that's going on, if you're staying at home, if you supplied up enough and you're just going to stay at home, I don't recommend you getting masks. There's no point. If you got to go out in public and you got to be with people, I know at the bank they're all wearing masks and gloves. Even at the hotel down the street, the service guy was wearing gloves and masks.
Wow.
So I mean, it's all on what you think your personal level of protection should be. If you come face to face with people a lot, I recommend you wear a mask all the time. If you don't come in contact with anybody, you know, like you work for Amber and UE or something, and you're working on telephone poles all day long, it's not a necessity. You know, it's not something you should have to freak out over and go get masks and, you know, and something like that.
PPE. You know, we're at the hour mark. I want to say I do thank you for sharing the information you have shared with us. At this point, I want to ask you to say anything you want to say in closing, any type of advice, any type of wisdom you want to share with the people. At this point, go for it.
Well, at this point, you just got to remember, it's not about you. It's not about you 100%. You know, the average American is a healthy American and will survive this. Now, you as an individual are the ones that will decide, well, whether this sticks around for weeks or it sticks around for months. We as the people, as individuals, we all have to make our own individual decision to isolate ourselves away from other people and to take our own precautions. If we don't, we can't just as a group do it and assume that everybody's going to do it. Everybody individually has to do their own part.
Right.
Have to. And as long as everybody does what they need to do, you maintain your distance. They say 6 feet, but if you can come without contact, a car lengths away from people, that's what I suggest. Don't even come near people. Away from afar, blow kisses. At home, reduce the amount of physicalness that you have with your loved one. I'm not saying don't kiss your kids goodnight, you know, don't kiss your wife, but reduce it, you know, make it smaller kisses, don't make it long lasting, don't be rubbing, you know, faces on each other. Another thing, hands to face. Remember the H to F rule, keep your hands off your face. You know, you can get the coronavirus on your hands all day long, and you still will never get it as long as you don't touch your face. It has to go in a hole. It has to go in through your respiratory system, so it has to go in your mouth or nose for you to breathe it in, to get it in there for it to do the respiratory symptoms that everybody's getting.
Gotcha.
Just, if you ain't got hand sanitizer, you can make it with rubbing alcohol and aloe vera. You can take the two of them together. You do like a 60-40. Would probably be consistent enough. Make your own hand sanitizer at home if you can't find it.
Then 60-40 would be 60 aloe vera, 40 alcohol, right?
Yeah. Yep.
All right. Hold on one second. I want to end the show, but I want to talk to you real quick before you get off the line. But just hold on 1 second on the line. Hey, everybody. This was TPIM SR Live Short. And I just want to thank you all for listening. As always, live your life with integrity without hate, envy, or greed. Brothers and sisters, please, 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 let's try to be kinder to each other. Peace and power, unity and victory, dignity and respect. Liberation. I'm out.